Happy New Year everyone, this is me, MrSneakyy, with today's special. It is an artifact video. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's going to be a long one. Everything you're going to need to know. Stay tuned and enjoy the ride. Hello everyone, it is me, MrSneakyy, here with basically the first major video of the new year. I hope you guys enjoy it. It is a big tier list video of every artifact in the epic and rare categories. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to be covering everything here, basically if you look at the top of the right screen, you can be able to see the effects of those artifacts, as well as I'm showing the max levels. And at any time you're just wondering what I'm talking about, you can just go back to this section of the video and just find the little artifact I'm looking for, and pause the video, read what's going on, look at the top right, what's happening really quickly in the demo, and then you'll understand a bit more of the reasoning of some of the choices. So my ruling for the actual guide, if you're wondering what is going on, is going to be as simple. The priority is the PvE and PvP aspects. If you should be obviously investing your XP into it, and it's mainly for free-to-play players. And then your spenders, you're going to obviously see which ones are better, but obviously if you're a spender, shouldn't really be investing too heavily in some of these artifacts, apart from some others, as you're gonna see. But yeah, the whole rules for me is how good is the artifact in obviously its effectiveness, of if it's a PvE one or if it's a PvP one, if it's good in its chosen category, as well as if it can be used in multiple areas, because obviously if you can use an artifact in multiple areas, it means it's just more effectively used, and you can use it and put more XP in, and you're getting more bang out of your buck, right? I'm showcasing obviously everything, even the blues, because some of the blues are very powerful in their own right, and they're only small, especially for very new players that may be looking at some things and wondering why am I covering it. But I hope you enjoy it. The guide is going to be a long guide. If you ever want to take a break, press pause, do that. Just smash a like, comment and subscribe before we hit the video and before we get into it. But that is pretty much it. That's going to sum up this entrance. The next time you hear me is going to be all of the tier list and all of the guide. Peace out. Now, with all that out the way, with all the rules out the way, here's the part of the video you all like. Just remember, if you're wondering what each of these artifacts do, just go back to what you've just watched, and obviously each of these are going to be in order to the videos you've seen, so you can just, if you're on the fifth one, just skip through to the fifth artifact and you can see what it actually does, so you're following on with me if you're wondering what the actual animation is. So we're going to start off with the Heart Piercer. So obviously the Heart Piercer is a great epic archer artifact. It's one of the actual best ones you can run, especially if you're only running in epics, because you don't have any of the legendaries at the moment. So with the epic Heart Piercer, straight away I have to put it up into A tier. It's a really powerful ability for an epic artifact to be able to do 2000 damage and have a 65% chance to reduce a physical defense break by 15%. So you're dealing more damage to them with that skill and with all your other marchers, because you have reduced their physical defense by 15%. It is actually really powerful, and because obviously when you level this up, it starts off pretty minor, but you'll see when the physical defense break happens. But when you do get that 65% chance instead of like the 40% chance when it starts off, this thing is a powerhouse to run. It's really good to run with Craig, because Craig really wants you to blow off their physical defense, and then his skill damage all goes on top. So it is really powerful. It's a really strong epic artifact. So just to reiterate, the archers are really strong. You'll notice that in this tier list, the archers are really strong. So, and the next one is Archer's Master's Manual, and this one for me is it might be controversial. This is going to be a very controversial one. I'd love to hear in the comments. But for out of epic only, if you only talk about the epic pool, this thing is absolutely obscene. It is definitely an S rated, maybe almost S plus, but I definitely have it an S rated archer artifact out of all the epics. It's better than the heart piercer, and then you're wondering why. It gives you a nice amount of unit defense and legion defense, which is cool. But the thing is, when you're running archers, the best primary archers for free-to-play players are always going to be Nico and Gwanwyn together, just because you're stacking up as much attack speed with the normal attack damage steroids you're going to have, plus going down the precision tree, you're going to have so much passive normal attack triggers and attack speed triggers that having a massive amount of crit rate on top of your normal attacks by 20%, it's 20 seconds. You have 20 seconds of 20% normal attack crit rate on top of all of your talents you already have. And when you're putting this in the open field and you're putting this in the PvE content, especially in the PvE content, and this is why this is S over the heart piercer, because the heart piercer is really good for PvP. For PvE, it's not that great. It's just a big nuke. But this for both PvP and PvE, so when you're raiding the behemoths or even just killing random mobs around, and then obviously when you're fighting in the open field, this excels so much. It pumps out so much damage. I don't think people realize how much damage it pumps out. And for an epic, only for epics, this is, remember, for the tier list, this is absolutely obscene. It is so much damage you can put out. So that is an S rated for me. Archer manual, the stats, the effect, the amount of time it lasts, and the cooldown is just so amazing to have. So we'll just move straight in to the next one, because I could ramble on about this one artifact so much, but I don't want to go into too much detail. So then you have the time bomb. Time bomb is arguably one of the best epics you can run. It's definitely S plus because it does a massive amount of damage. It does a big 1800 AoE effect on a time delay, and the time delay, as you've seen in some of my combat videos if you've not watched them, those time delays can be used to your advantage, because if you're watching cavalry units run away, you can put a time bomb on that cavalry unit and hopefully he runs into the murder ball, which he's trying to retreat to, and you get big free AoE hits. And giving yourself obviously magic unit attack and legion attack, it means your big AoE hits when you're equipping this with Waldia and Lilia and Atheus and even Alloin in the secondary. The amount of damage you're amplifying up, plus having all this AoE, as you'll see in most open field scenarios for epic people, this is definitely an S plus. It's a priority must use mage artifact. Don't go crazy. It is so powerful. It is actually really powerful. Like the amount of damage you pump out. And it's on a nice, it's only on a 1 minute 30 cooldown. So you can, in combat, in open field combat, if you're good, especially with mages, right? If you're really good and you're able to keep repositioning and keep that march out, you'll probably get this out 2, maybe 3 times in one combat quite easily. And you'll be seeing the change, and you'll see the amount of free damage and free merits you'll be gaining just because of the amount of AoE it pumps out. It's 1800 damage and it scales. Like, this is the thing, it's just so obscene. So now we get to Giant's Bone. And Giant's Bone is a very weird one. Everyone loves it because obviously it's the very first artifact you get. But the thing is with the Giant Bone, it is definitely just a C tier artifact. At the start of the very game, when you first get it, it's the first artifact you get. To be honest, having it at level 10 is fine, because at level 10 you get enough stats from this artifact to be, you know, quite useful for you. And if you're wondering why, it's just because it's peacekeeping damage. And having peacekeeping damage allows you to kill the patrols, kill obviously behemoths as well, if you don't have any of the other artifacts I talked about. Or also it gives you, you know, rally damage when you're hitting forts because it's peacekeeping. So actually having just raw peacekeeping passive damage on your march is very beneficial. If you're putting this on infantry units, it's even better, right? Because now you get the effect, and the effect is really good again for PvE only content. It's 2000 nuke in an arc that hits 3 people, and it knocks them up. So when you're using this in, for example, the Dark Trials, or the Dragon Trials, shall I say, because this does work in Dragon Trials, if you're wondering, like, for some reason, in Dragon Trials, this Giant's Bone and that event classes all those units as patrol units, so you get more damage with peacekeeping for some reason. So it is actually very beneficial to put in your front lineup, because you could run, if you have some legendary ones, you could run the Gladfield Hammer and this on 2 different infantry marchers and run an AoE double knock-up stun for like 8 seconds and cheese your way through. So it's very good. It's not like amazing. It's not one you should prioritize or skill in when you start the game. Of obviously you're gonna have it. So just remember that it is just like it's okay. It's not you know terrible, but it's not like go crazy over. I just think it's just a nice C tier rated artifact. And now we get to the second major one, which is the staff. And this could be either B or A in personality. It's weird because I think I'm going to probably put it in B for now, just because of the way the game kind of is running. The time bomb and the main damage dealers is so much like powerful that running this staff isn't very strong. But it does have its uses, and that's why it probably fits in the B category over all the others. The thing is with the staff, and people don't realize, it does give yourself 15.8% magic unit HP. That is an insane amount of HP stats to give just for free to your unit. And in the late game, I'm understanding, hopefully, when they bring more commanders out, you're gonna be rocking like a legendary mage with Wild Deer. And then you're most likely going to be running like the support Indis with maybe Alwyn or Atheus to pump out as much supportive, you know, AoE and supportive damage as you can to help your team. And if that's the case, Staff of Spring on that march is really powerful, because it gives you, like I say, magic unit HP. It gives you Legion HP as well on top. And the thing which is why it's cool is it's a 1 minute 30 cooldown to target a single unit and pocket heal them for 2,400 burst. So you're in theory out healing the Heart Piercer, because their Heart Piercer only does 1,800. This is healing for 2,400. And the thing is, in the early game, which what we use the staff for, which you guys might use it for too, which is a really cool way of using the artifact, was you could be rallying the pass, right? And if you're rallying passes to try and take them, you could be using your magic units to charge up their skill, and then by charging up their skill, they can just quickly pocket heal the units and heal up, basically, and use healing the rally with the artifact. It was crazy. But again, in raids, it's used very heavily, because in raids you could be healing your main tanks and your DPS players that you know, whales that are doing the most damage, keeping them healthier the longer you can, so obviously then they survive and deal more damage. So it is a really good, you know, artifact. It is really good, but the thing is, it doesn't deal damage, and it doesn't affect your march in that regard. And because it's a supportive styled, you know, artifact, I think that's why it's in B. It's not A, because it's almost there, but it's not. It gets outclassed, unfortunately, in the legendary tier. The legendary healing artifact, which you guys will see, is just mountains and mounds above this. It's just way stronger. So that's why this has its niches, while the other one is obviously better. But if you do target and you do level up this artifact, don't feel bad. I'm not even gonna lie, don't feel bad. It is a good artifact, so don't feel bad about it. So when we come out of it, we're going into Home Beacon. Beacon, to be honest, for me, you should kind of avoid. When you do have it, it's good for certain scenarios. If you're wondering when to use it, if you're trying to build something really far away, or if you're trying to maybe, you know, gem mine, if you're using gems and you're trying to like mine over 1,000 gems in a week, and you're using one march to keep farming and keep farming, And when you're ready to, you can just press this artifact. It'll just teleport you back straight to your beacon. But that's the general use of it. It's not nothing major. I would not put any points into it. Don't worry about it. You're going to get this passively. Just kind of avoid it at all costs. Now, Spirit Mangle is a weird one. We've not really seen it being used at all, apart from in a raid. And because of that, it's probably C tier. And the way Spirit Bangle works, if you guys haven't checked the earlier part, is it basically removes all the debuffs and impairment effects on your Legion. This basically means when you're in the Hydra fight and you have all the poison stacks, you can use Spirit Bangle to dispel the amount of poison stacks on you. It's actually a really powerful ability to have. But at the same time, in the open field, if you was getting loads of debuffs, and maybe in the future, when maybe there's more marchers and the open field evolves over time, the Spirit Bangle may go up in tiers, right? It might creep up like this, because when there's more and more different effects in the game, that basically reduces the effectiveness of your march, the more and more powerful the Spirit Bangle becomes. So, and the thing is, for magic users as well, and this is what's quite powerful about it, it gives you again 15.8% magic unit HP and 4% Legion HP. So it's an insane amount of unit HP you're gaining, and it's a very defensive buff that you're gaining. You can obviously get this in certain talents, but you can activate this on a cooldown. It has a 3-minute cooldown because it's that strong. But obviously at the moment I'd put it in C tier. Don't worry about it too much. I've not really seen too many people use it apart from in the raid for the Hydra, but you don't need it as a necessity, so don't worry about it. So on to the next one is the potion. I'm just going to put in D tier. It's not anything you should be putting any XP bucks into. The whole point of this one, which is really good though, it's a good artifact in its own right, but you don't use any prioritization for it, is when you are building your flags, building your fortress, building your roads, you know, demolitioning enemies, you know, you can use this to increase your engineering by 100% for 1800 seconds, which is insane, because if you do have like something you need to build really fast and you have like 1.3 million engineering, now you have 2.6 million engineering. You're worth double what you were. So it is good for building, but again, don't put any points into it. It's just there to help you when you activate it for the effect. Obviously when you do put XP into it, you get 21.7% building engineering percent, but again, it's nothing you should be rushing. You should not be wasting any of your potions, basically, or XP bucks into this. So we're almost there. We're going through almost halfway through the epics. This is going to be a long one. Remember, guys, just smash a like, comment, and subscribe. I know you guys enjoy these videos, but if you want the full realistic, you know, tier list, this is it. This is how it's got to be. And I know I do normally small videos, but this is the long one. So here we go. Freeze ring. Freeze ring's actually very powerful. You see it used quite often. I'll put this in B tier because again, it has its uses. So in open field, if you for some reason a whale, I've seen it used where a whale rushes in and just triggers it. And by triggering it, he has all the aggro, and a lot of players don't realize it, and he takes no damage, and then he pops out of it. But the real power of Freezing Ring, if you're wondering why you use it, is because it's on a 4-minute cooldown, and it allows you in the Necro Giant raid. If you struggle with the Necro Giant raid, no matter what march, if you're a mage, infantry, cavalry, archer, no matter what, if you struggle with some of the mechanics, if you activate the Freezing Ring and put it onto your march, you can still trigger the effect. It's not linear to magic. Like you can use it on other marches, right? And because of this, you get the ice block. And the ice block effect on this is very powerful in the Necro Giant, because there's certain parts where you guys just might not be able to dodge certain things, and there's like the balls which just spread across all the screen, or the wall of death arrows that you can't run through. So some of those stages you can just press the ring and avoid them, and then when you avoid them, come out of it, and then hopefully over time it comes up ready for another one, so it does save you through the early game of the raid. But that's generally it. So I don't want to go too in depth on it. It's a B class artifact. You just use it for certain raids and use it to cheese certain times, but that's generally it, right? So now we're in the Cloak of Stealth. I would avoid this. It's a cool concept. I've not really used it yet. It allows you to obviously stealth your cavalry units and stealth units and then move around, and when you enter combat you'll come out of stealth. There's maybe certain cases and certain scenarios where this is really powerful, but at the moment we've not used it anywhere. I've not seen it anywhere used on the open field. I've not seen the buff effect of it really take any consideration. It gives you cavalry unit attack, so it does give you a big burst of damage if you want to use it. You could try, but I don't think it is that great, right? So let's just avoid it. Don't worry about it. Ignore it. You'll have it. Maybe in the future it's going to be good, but right now in the current game, in the beta, how we are, without it being full open release, it's anything to cry about. Just don't worry, right? So now we're on Greenfinger Sickle, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, Greenfinger Sickle is definitely S+. It is one of the best artifacts in the game. It is absolutely bonkers, this, right? At first, you guys may not understand why this is so strong, but the thing with Greenfinger Sickle, it increases your legion capacity passively when you just equip it. Even at level 10, it's 7.7% load cap, which is a decent amount. You don't want to obviously pump loads of XP bucks into this. Just remember this is S+ for a different reason, and it's the effect of it. So when you trigger this effect, it's on a 12-hour cooldown. So if you use it right when you wake up, and then when you finish work and it's in the evening, you can use it again. You get 2 uses of it. And by doing that, it gives you either, at the moment for me, it gives you either 400,000 gold or wood, 300,000 ore, or 160,000 mana. And the thing is why it's so good now is you can trigger the effect of Greenfinger Sickle in your alliance mana pit, or your alliance pit, should I say. So when you're alliance and you're an alliance member and you build those pits and you obviously send your troops in to get a big amount of resources, right, instead of having a normal resource tile, you can use this now on your march. And by using like Keller with a Greenfinger Sickle and then having a secondary hero who you want to level up, so maybe you want to level up your Gwanwyn, for example, you put her secondary, put them in the mana pit, trigger the artifact as soon as you enter it, you've just gained 160,000 mana without doing anything straight away. And then you're going to start farming up the rest of your troop cap, and this allows you to farm so fast and so efficiently. It's actually one of the most fair and the most powerful artifacts in the game, and everyone who doesn't use it is an idiot. You guys should be using this off cooldown as much as you can. It's S+ for that reason. Just think, without resource, and the faster you can get resource means the faster you can power up your troops, the faster you can research, the faster you can heal, the faster you can, upgrade your buildings and go up next city halls. And if you're using certain like gem supplies, you get gems from completing your city hall. So the gathering is such an important aspect of the game, and this is why you guys should be using this. It is S+. And I'm gonna keep vouching for it. Greenfinger Sickle gang, go for it, right? So we're almost at the end. We're at the Codex of Prophecy. I'm gonna put Codex of Prophecy. At first, I used to love this, but the more you get into the game, you realize this is a B tier artifact. The thing is with the Codex is, sorry guys, it's just, I need a drink. it's a long one. The thing with the Codex is the Codex gives you a shield, right? And the shield's very powerful. It is a 2400 shield. It's technically a more shield than the legendary one, guys, yeah? Everyone's wondering in the comments, yeah, but the legendary one gives you, 1800, so surely this is better. No, this is not better, because the 2400 shield only absorbs damage from PvE content. So in the open field, when you're trying to fight someone, this does nothing. It just does nothing. But if you're using it as, if you're an infantry player and you're looking for options to use for raids and you're not the main tank, this is definitely something to consider. It's a B tier. It gives you decent infantry unit, defense. It gives you peacekeeping damage taken reduction, so it's even better in that regard. But obviously it gives you an effect of 2400 shield to 9 allies during raids. It's really good in raids. You can use it in raids, and that's why it's B tier. If we were gonna kind of get these in order, I'd definitely rock it in this. I'd say the book's better than the support staff, and then the rings at the bottom. Keep it like this. At the moment, everything's probably in the right order. I'm enjoying how it is. But yeah, the book's really good for just doing raids. So if you've pumped some XP into it, it's fine. You can use it. Don't feel frowned, but it's not something that's insane. It's not going to be game changing. There's obviously game changing ones, as you can see above, and there's still some more game changing ones to come, which is funny enough. So now Amulet of Glory. The Amulet of Glory is okay. It's a peacekeeping effect. It grants a buff to against 2 legions for up to 4 legions, reducing the damage take from darklings and dark creatures. So again, it's kind of irrelevant for the open field, and because it's kind of irrelevant for the open field, this is down here in the C tier. It's better than, again, the Spirit Bangle, maybe not. I've said Spirit Bangle's at the top, and then we'll leave it in this. This is a nice order. The thing with that amulet is it just gives you peacekeeping damage. It's okay maybe early game. Again, when you start out on your account and you're trying to kill the some of the PvE content and some of the patrols, and you're struggling, the extra damage you get from it allows you to kill that content. The whole point of this artifact is to help you get through certain content, so that's why it's there. But it obviously, as soon as you start leveling up, and the more better artifacts above you start leveling up, you'll realize you don't really need this. You just start outscaling the damage anyway. Okay, so now you're at the Blade of Reproach. Again, this is a peacekeeping based artifact. However, it's a different one in regards to what you want to be doing with it. It is again 2000 damage factor. It gives you 7.5% peacekeeping damage and a cavalry unit attack of 16.8%. But the thing is that the blade, compared to a lot of these, it's made for cavalry players, and the way it works, I know the others, like these guys, are all raids. This is for raids as well. But if you're a cavalry player rocking Emrys and Bakshi, for example, and you have the Blade of Reproach on because you don't have Kingslayer or you don't have Sauron's Blade, this thing does 2000 damage to the behemoth, and you can just target it. You don't have to worry about any crazy aiming. You just click an effect. It's just a tap and target effect. You don't have to do anything crazy. It's on a 45-second cooldown, so every 45 seconds you get to deal 2k damage, which is obscene compared to everything else. So just think, the Heart Piercer does 1800 on 1 minute and 30 cooldown, so you get to do 4000 damage plus your hero damage on top. And just because of that, it's A tier. And it's the best, and this is what I need to put here, it is the best PvE ability in the game. It just does so much damage. It's ridiculous how much damage this pumps out. A lot of people probably haven't really experimented with it, and that's the thing what I've done. I've done all the hard hours. I've tried everything out. I've got most of these epic artifacts maxed out, and apart from obviously the brand new ones. But this is insane. I've had it on my Lilia. I had Lilia with Waldea when I was leveling up with this blade, because it just did 2k damage to the patrol, and because it did 2k damage to the patrol every 45 seconds, it just let me kill some of the harder patrols that I were struggling on so fast, like so goddamn fast. It was obscene. So yeah, it is definitely one you should be consider using. If you're a cavalry player, definitely start using this, because you'll start seeing yourself even in the raids, higher than you normally would be. You'd be surprised how much damage this pumps out. That's all I'm gonna say. That's why it's 80 for me, and this is again only the epics, as you can see, and there's the rares that I've got to go through, but the rares have got their own special niches. Yeah, so the next one we get onto is the Butcher's Blade. So the Butcher's Blade is the first actual offensive capabilities you do get as an infantry player, and it is really, really good. It is so damn good how good this thing is. For free-to-play players, again, this is outclassing the other two, just because the amount of damage it pumps out. If you're in a murder ball and you're really good with infantry players, even though like generally the rule is for free-to-players don't rock infantry, but if you're you know wanting to play it, this actually does so much damage, because in the fact it does 650 damage. Up to 900 when you max it out. 900 to 3 targets, so that's nearly 2700 damage. And that scales with your physical attack as well. And it obviously gives you physical attack, so it just scales up on itself. You could max it out and try and see how much damage you could pump out. But again, for epics, it's not about maxing epics out. And that's what I hope you guys realised in the disclaimer before we hit the tier list, that you understand why these are used and why you use artifacts in general. But doing 900 damage to 3 units in a murder ball, especially if you're really good and getting close and you're winning the fights and you're ending the fights, you know them yourself, you can cleave so much and you get 3 damage, 3 merits for doing it. And for me, it's one of the best infantry artifacts you can run. It is insane how much this pumps out. Again, it's a 1 minute 30 cooldown, but that is it. You know, you don't have too many options. You got the raves to go through. There's only one to talk about really. When we get there, and you guys will know it when we hit it. But the last artifact on the list is the Centaur Bow. And the Centaur Bow is new. It's very interesting how it works. It does 750 damage when you first get it, but when you max it out, it's a 1500 damage AoE. It hits up to 3 targets, so again you're doing nearly now 4500 damage in an AoE. It gives you cavalry unit defense and legion defense, so it's weird because it's AoE range on cavalry, right? And I'm not gonna lie, guys, and you guys know this already. If you guys think this is a joke, it's up there. It could, in theory, it could even be S+. I would want to hear everyone's, you know, take on it, but for me, it's S. This is the best of the best cavalry epic artifacts you can get. It is better than obviously the blade, because the blade's only for PvE. This can be used PvE and PvP because it's an insane nuke amount. For cavalry, it's just nuts, because you're allowed now, if you're rocking Emery's and you're rocking these guys, to start charging up off something and then hit an AoE effect onto someone. Or if you're fighting, for example, a 1v1 and you're about to kill them and you have this charged up ready, you can AoE hit your next target, dealing a massive amount of damage, reducing obviously their effectiveness, and then charge them down with your cavalry units. It's absolutely insane how well this is put together. I know cavalry players are all using this. It's one of the best ones to run. So that's pretty much all the epics. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to run through the rares as well. I know the rares are really quick, so we're going to just run through these. The rapid bow, it doesn't really do too much damage, doesn't give you anything, avoid using it. The bone cleaver, again, it does a decent amount of damage. You can use it for PvE content only in the early game. Do not put any XP into it. The true ice, even though I wish it was something you could use, is just not worth using. It's just not enough damage. The slow's, like, again, not worth using for the artifact slot. It's just not an artifact you want to be wasting any XP into. The crown again, it is again something you want to kind of avoid using. It gives you decent stats, you might think, and it gives you this berserking effect. It gives you, 20% increased attack and movement speed and inflicting defense break on the target. It gives you loads of cool stats, but the problem is, like, for you, it's just, again, not worth it. You're not gaining enough benefits for abusing your artifact slot. Again, having ranged is just infinitely better for cavalry at the moment. But again, march speed, and this is one which will be surprising. March speed is actually quite good. You'd be surprised later on, obviously, when you see the legendary list. It's really powerful as well. But the blue artifact for raids is really good. That's why it's C tier. Again, giving you and your allies up to, again, I believe it's 9 targets. All a massive 25% movement speed. Yep, 9 targets, 30% should I say, movement speed during certain events and certain raids in mechanics, giving you guys a quick burst of movement speed that's on a 45-second cooldown is just infinitely better than like freezing for sometimes, and it's just really beneficial to have. So that's why it's C tier. Surprisingly, probably catch you all out with that one blue one. But another one is the Infantry Mask. And I bet you guys probably would not expect that. The Infantry Mask is definitely an S+ artifact. Again, this is going to be probably very surprising to a lot of you. You don't realistically need to max it out. You could have this about level 20, level 30, be fine. If you do max it out, it's fine. The whole point and the only reason this is S+ is because of raids. And if you're the main tank player, if you're rocking Garwood, you're rocking Madeline, you know, you're rocking Hosk with either of those two, and you're playing as the main tank line, the main, you know, tank for the raid who wants to take all the damage, you need this artifact. And the reason why, and if people don't really, if they're not really using it, and it's your mistake for not using it, it gives you a 30-second cooldown, obviously on use, but it allows you to force the behemoth to take aggro on you. And by taking aggro on you for 5 seconds, you generally maintain aggro after for a large portion of the time, unless someone is generating more threat, which is fine. But if there's 2, 3, 4 main tanks, which generally there's normally between 2 to 4 main tanks in a fight, those 4 tank players all having this, it allows you to cover 20 seconds worth of time, and it allows you to then position the behemoth in a way that it only deals damage to the tanks and it doesn't damage any of your allies. And that is the most powerful and most, you know, best thing you can provide as an alliance member to your alliance during the raid. And it's a very, you know, good thing to see when you see good tank players and when you see bad tank players. So the last one and final one is Veteran's Diary. This one is a very weird one to run. I've tried it myself. It gives you infantry unit attack and legion attack. I did try and max it out in my first season to get the benefits out of it. The thing is, this thing is probably around C tier as well. You'd be surprised compared to all the others for infantry units only. It gives you the fact that it gives you 60% increased normal attack damage. It very fits the line of what you're wanting to do. If in comparison, Hosk gives you 30%. This is doubling the amount of damage you're getting from Hosk, right? Obviously, you don't get the increased damage dealt, but you gain onslaught, which is increasing the normal attack damage dealt by 60%. And when you have that with the counter attack damage, with the shields and healing, you'll be surprised how much damage this actually gives your march. It gives you a surprising and decent amount of buffs, but it's actually worth using. You could use it and you could try it out in the first couple of seasons. Obviously, the further and longer the game goes, this is probably going to, you know, drop down in the tiers as you know, into D and eventually into a void maybe. But at the moment, it's actually surprisingly good, and that's pretty much it. That sums up over, you know, artifacts. I don't want to ramble too much on. It has been a long video. It's got everything you guys need on the epic and rare artifacts. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want this style of video again, just smash a like, comment and subscribe. I'll be doing all the legendary artifacts now, because that will be obviously a smaller list, because there's only so many legendaries at the moment compared to all of these epics and rares. But I'll be doing the full you know, legendary artifact list in the same way, giving you guys everything you want in the animations and the tier list and explanation. So if you enjoyed it, smash a like, comment and subscribe. I hope you can see I had to put a lot more effort into this video. I hope you enjoy in the new year. I know I'm a bit delayed on telling everyone happy new year, but it is the way it goes. Smash your like, comment and subscribe again. Final out, peace out guys.